What advice can you give to make yourself more productive in the day?
It's a thing I heard the other day. It's called the 90-90-10 rule. And basically it says spend the first 90 minutes of your day on something that is the most important thing for you. So, because it's very easy, especially as an entrepreneur, to get involved into too many things. So in the first 90 minutes of the day, wake up, focus only on the thing that is the most important. In other words, that's going to drive the most revenue or get your goal faster, get you to your goal faster. And that's all you do in the first 90 minutes. And it seems so obvious, but you'd be surprised how many people wake up, Instagram, social media, email, and they get stuck into a day that is as if it was someone else's agenda, not theirs.
I think planning your day is important. Planning the hours that you work, fitting in time for the different things at the different part of your day. So I have sort of like a structure to the day where the first thing is I'll go through all my emails and find any that are really critical or need to be responded to immediately, get those out of the way, and then go through the normal tasks of the day. I try and leave work a little early to spend time with the kids, like we discussed earlier. But then you'll often find me working at 2 a.m. So I try to spread things out and try to get them done at certain parts. And for me, tools are really important. Things that remind me to do things are critical, because as your business grows, and especially with a small business, you're the chief cook and bottle wash, you're doing everything yourself. At some point in time, those things become a tidal wave, and you need to try to find a way just to keep them in order until you can afford to have the right people to help you.
Priorities. Urgent, important. Not urgent, not important. We've also started adopting this OKR kind of approach to everybody's role in the organization. So key responsibilities, and basically saying, look, we've borrowed this from Google. Basically saying, look, what are the 3 main pillars of what you're trying to achieve in the next quarter, the next 3 months, and what are the specific tasks that will lead to you achieving that goal, and what are the metrics that we can measure you against in each specific task, and how much time are you going to spend on each of these pillars in the next 3 months. And what that does is, it suddenly becomes very clear that, look, this is my focus. If you don't have that focus when you walk in the morning, it's very easy to get lost in a whole bunch of other tasks. And OrdenIn's getting to that kind of size now where those kinds of things really make a difference on the whole velocity of the organization.
Everyone has their own techniques for shutting out the noise. For me, sometimes I'll go and I'll sit and I'll put my earphones in and then I'll bash out a presentation and close my emails. For me, one of the hugest distractions of my day is TweetDeck, because I'm constantly scanning for opportunities, news, and just understanding of general trends based on the people that I follow. So if I can switch off and I can either go into a music space or I can go and sit at a coffee shop, those are generally 2 of the most productive spaces that I find when trying to solve an aha moment.
I think you have to start with a plan. It goes back to lists. I know people always say you need to have a list, and sometimes you make a list and you don't get to any of it in the day. But in terms of your monthly, weekly, you need daily goals as well, and things that you need to do. And you're going to forget, if you're a business owner, you're going to forget stuff, because there's just so much from different angles and different aspects of the business that could come to you. There's a lot of walk-in problems, there's a lot of walk-in opportunities, and you can get sidetracked and you can maybe lose focus on the things that still needs to be done. There's always these things that need to get done, and if you have a list, get home tonight, you go, I didn't manage to get through the list, or I did half, then you need to spend time and finish the rest of the list.